Howdy everyone. Thought I'd go through this Music Spotlight Collector's Edition. It is a magazine fully dedicated to Janis Joplin. I've only read some articles in here, and the ones I read, they're pretty good. I think they did a really good job, reflecting on her life and stuff. But as usual, a lot of things are wrong. So anyway, this magazine came out in 2023. It's to celebrate. It was to have celebrated her 80th birthday. 80th birthday tribute. It's still available, like on eBay and stuff. Still for pretty cheap. So, but when it came out in 2023, it was like 14 bucks. I mean, that's crazy. Think about. So, all right, let's get into it. I'll read some quotes from Janis herself and from the people, well, from Grace Slick. Janis Joplin, remembering a classic rock icon. Great shot of her at Madison Square Garden from December 19th, 1969. Here's the contents. Just beautiful photo. Gorgeous. She had such nice belts, in my opinion. Piece of her heart. This is why, this is just explaining for the magazine. She's a rebel. It's talked about like her upbringing. Picture of her from not high school. It was some sort of, it's an engagement photo when she was engaged back in the 60s. Anyway, here's a quote from Janis. She said, "I was lonely, all those feelings welling up and no one to talk to." God. Another 60s photo. Talks about her, joining Big Brother and the holding company, and their successes and stuff like that. This is the picture they used for their first album cover. It was just their faces in those little circle things. This is from the photo that they used. This talks about the Monterey Festival. John Phillips with the Mamas and the Papas said, "Janis stole the show. She just took it." And of course, the Monterey Pop Festival was what made Janis famous pretty much overnight. This talks about their second album, Cheap Thrills. She's up there over there with Albert Grossman. So John Simon, the producer of Cheap Thrills, says, "I always thought they were a great performance band, but I didn't think they made it as a recording band." Well, they really never had a chance to show that. But I think they could have been a great recording band if given the chance and the right producer and everything like that. Great live shot here of Janis on stage with Big Brother. Well, I also think this talks about her clothing and accessories and stuff like that. Janis says here, "You can feel all things at once, so why not wear all things at once?" Makes sense. And this is talks about her and the Cosmic Blues Band, her breaking out from Big Brother and going solo. Here she is backstage with the Cosmic Blues Band. on their opening night in Memphis, Tennessee. I got them all Cosmic Blues Again, Mama. That's my favorite album. This is her on stage on opening night. I believe the Cosmic Blues Band in Memphis, Tennessee. This talks about Woodstock. That's not a picture from Woodstock. That's actually a picture from the show she was on, Music Scene, where she sang Maybe and Raise Your Hand, I believe. So this is a quote from Janis. She says, it's hard to be free, but when it works, it's worth it. Great picture of her here, in my opinion. This goes over the many loves of Janis, both male and female, but some of these weren't really her lovers. Like Dick Cavett wasn't a lover. She didn't have any sort of relationship, but I think he likes to spread that out there or tease about it. She never had anything with Jim Morrison because he was a complete dick to her and was physically abusive, and she smashed a bottle of Southern Comfort over his head and he deserved it, so whatever. So this talks about her with the Full Tilt Boogie Band, her last band. This talks about her high school reunion, which was just a disaster, but yeah. And Pearl, which in many people's opinion is her best album, but not mine. I'm sorry. This is her on the Dick Cavett show. This is the grave of Bessie Smith that Janis paid for her headstone like a few months before she died. So that was really cool of her because Bessie Smith was one of Janis Joplin's biggest influences. This is Chris Christopherson. You know, he wrote her biggest hit, Me and Bobby McGee. It was apparently covered 9 times before Janis's version was released, and her version made #1. This talks about her death. I don't know how sad she looks here. I still think this is a great picture. So Bob Newworth, he was a friend and tour manager. He said people try to tell her to slow down. That was like telling a B-29 to stop its propeller. It's a great live shot of her at Royal Albert Hall in London, England. There she is with Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead when they were on the Festival Express tour in Canada. Okay, so these are people who have been influenced by Janis. You know, Chrissie Hynde. There's a bunch of there's Chrissie Hynde's up there. Stevie Nicks, Pink, Debbie Harry. But I'm going to read you something that Grace Slick said, because Grace Slick knew her. All these other singers didn't know her. So I'm going to read you what Grace Slick said, because it's really cool, and I like Grace Slick. So Grace Lick said, Janis knew more than I did about how it was, but she lacked enough armor for the inevitable hassles. She was open and spontaneous enough to get her heart trampled on with a regularity that took me 30 years to experience or understand. On the various occasions when we were together, she seemed to be holding in something she thought I might not want to hear. Like older people do when they hear kids saying with absolute youthful confidence, "Oh, that'll never happen to me." Sometimes you can't tell them how it is. They have to find out for themselves. Janis felt like an old soul, a wisecracking grandmother whom everybody loved to visit. Did we ever compliment each other? Yes, but not often enough. We were too young, too rich, and too happy to be suicidal. And there's other quotes from, the people pictured up there that I've read already in past videos. So this talks about, Janis, films about her, and how, they always say they're gonna make a movie about her, and, but they can never seem to get anybody to play her, which is fine by me, because no one can play her really. So these are all the films and documentaries that have been released. And 27 Club, yeah, I don't fucking believe in that. And here's all her albums, plus some. Tina Turner was with her in this photo and they cropped her out. Okay. And this was just a fun quiz to take, but they don't give you the answers, etc. So, and here's some quotes I'm going to read from Janis. On top of the picture it says, "I'm one of those weird, regular people. Being an intellectual creates a lot of questions and no answers. Don't go looking for Mr. Right. Look for Mr. Right now." I never listened to radio. I didn't never get into that rock and roll trip. I just listened to blues. It seemed real. At my concerts, most of the chicks are looking for liberation. They think I'm going to show them how to do it. You're only as much as you settle for. If you settle for being somebody's dishwasher, that's your own fucking problem. If you don't settle for that and keep fighting it, you'll end up anything you want to be. In my insides, it really hurts if someone doesn't like me. You know, it's silly. Not silly at all. And this is a pic of her on stage with Big Brother in '67. And this is the last quote I'm going to read from Janis. She said, "I just want to feel as much as I can. It's what soul is all about." And that's a great pic of her, too. So that will do it for Music Spotlight Collector's Edition, Janis Joplin. Full magazine dedicated to her. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please take care of yourselves and take care of someone else. Bye for now.